Beloved children of mine, draw near and listen. There was once a land wide and young, where railroads cut through plains and cities grew like hopeful prayers. In that land, two brothers were born beneath the same narrow roof, their first breaths taken to the same lullaby of wind and hunger. They shared one name spoken in different tones, the elder, steady as dawn, and Samuel, the younger, bright as the trembling stars. Their mother stitched love into every hem she could afford, and their father carried hope in his hands until those hands failed him. Poverty, like a long winter, settled over the house. It was not cruel in noise, but cruel in silence. When their father passed, the world tilted. Bills piled like stones, and choices grew sharp. Ethan was 14, old enough to understand the weight of empty cupboards. Samuel was 8, young enough to still believe the night would explain itself by morning. One evening, beneath a sky bruised with clouds, a decision was made quiet, trembling, and necessary. A distant uncle in Chicago could take one child, only one. Ethan watched his brother sleep and felt the ache of love choose for him. He packed Samuel's small coat and whispered courage into its pockets. The next dawn carried Samuel away on a train, while Ethan learned how to stand still and break at the same time. Years passed like rivers that do not ask permission. Ethan stayed, working before school and after, learning the grammar of survival. His hands hardened, his heart learned patience. He sent letters he could not afford, each stamped with longing. Some returned unopened, some were lost. Samuel grew amid brick and smoke, fed by opportunity and loneliness in equal measure. His uncle was strict but fair. Books became windows, music became shelter. Yet at night, Samuel pressed his ear to memory and listened for a brother's breath that time had taken. I watched them both, children of my care, though neither knew my name in those days as comfort. Ethan married young, not for ease, but for companionship in endurance. His wife, Mary, carried kindness like bread meant to be shared. They had a daughter whose laughter stitched light into tired rooms. Samuel, meanwhile, found success in numbers and sound, building a life that looked complete to the world. Yet, something was missing, like a chord unresolved. He searched records when he could, but names scatter when poverty is the wind. Fate, my gentle instrument, waits with patience beyond clocks. One winter, a factory fire took Ethan's job and nearly his hope. Medical bills followed like shadows. Mary fell ill, and nights grew long. Ethan prayed without words, offering sweat and silence. Far away, Samuel attended a charity concert for hospital relief. A name on a donation list caught his eye. Ethan Clark, common perhaps. Yet the address, the county, tugged at an old scar. Samuel gave more than he planned and asked a question he had practiced since boyhood. The answer came slowly, as truths often do. Records aligned like stars remembering their places. A call was made. Ethan heard a voice shaped by years and possibility say his name the way only one person ever had. Silence fell, holy and trembling. Tears did what words could not. They spoke of trains and winters, of letters and nights. They spoke of a mother's hands and a father's laugh. They spoke until the past forgave itself. Yet reunion is not a door that opens without learning how to walk through. Samuel arrived with gifts and apologies heavy as suitcases. Ethan met him with caution born of survival. Love had to relearn its steps. Days passed in shared work and shared meals. Samuel helped with bills. Ethan shared stories that made success kneel. Mary smiled again. The child learned a new uncle's song. And still, beneath joy, questions stirred. What is owed? What is forgiven? Beloved children, hear this softly. Poverty can divide bodies, but not the truth written beneath them. The brothers stood at the edge of a future that asked for courage, different from hunger, the courage to be gentle. As spring approached, a letter arrived, bearing an old return address, one neither had expected to see again. Its seal trembled in Ethan's hand. The letter trembled open and released a breath from another lifetime. It bore the hand of their mother's sister, written in ink, faded but faithful. She spoke of a small box kept safe through moves and storms, a box meant for both sons, forgotten only by grief. Inside were keepsakes photographs, a medal their father earned for quiet service, and a note written on a winter night long ago. Ethan read the note aloud, his voice a bridge across years. If love must choose, let it choose to save the youngest, and let the eldest become strong enough to forgive the world. Silence followed, and in that silence, healing took its first unafraid step. Beloved children, I do not hurry such moments. I let them unfold like petals learning the sun. Samuel wept, not for what he lacked, but for what Ethan had carried alone. Ethan wept not for his losses, but for the joy of being seen. They held the medal together, and weight turned to witness. From that day, Samuel resolved not to repay with gifts alone, but with presence. He took a modest apartment nearby. He learned the rhythm of Ethan's days, the price of his courage. Life tested this resolve. Old habits resist grace. When Samuel suggested changes doctors, budgets, new work, Ethan bristled. Pride is a shield learned early. It does not lay down easily. Words sharpened. A door closed too hard one evening. Night grew thick. I stood near, unseen, yet faithful, and whispered to memory what mercy sounds like. In the morning, Mary placed bread on the table and named the pain without naming blame. The brothers listened. The door opened again. Spring did what spring does, it taught the earth to trust again. Mary's health steadied. Ethan found work repairing old machines, coaxing life from what others had discarded. Samuel used his skills to open markets, not to overshadow, but to amplify. They argued, they laughed, they learned. The child little Anna grew between them like a living promise, asking questions that cut through fear. "Why did you come back?" she asked. Samuel answered, "Because love remembers." Then came the choice that seals a story. Samuel was offered a position far away, one that would crown his efforts. He brought the letter to Ethan and laid it on the table like a confession. The room held its breath. Ethan felt the old winter stir, but something new stood with it. He thought of trains and pockets sewn with courage. He smiled, slow and sure. "Go," he said, "but leave your footsteps here." Samuel stayed long enough to build a cope that trained hands and paid fare. He left often, but returned always. Years braided themselves into peace. The brothers aged into gentleness. On a summer evening, they sat beneath a wide sky, the kind that forgives smallness. Ethan spoke of gratitude without bitterness. Samuel spoke of success without pride. They understood at last that what was separated by poverty had been reunited by faithfulness, by choosing each other again and again. Beloved children, remember this: what you save in love returns as wisdom. What you lose in fear returns as shadow. When you must choose, choose to keep your heart open. For I am near to the broken and faithful to the patient. Let peace be your inheritance and mercy your song. Amen.